The trap is set. The Krelvor Empire had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Their ships were massive, their weapons devastating, and their reputation terrifying. When they decided to destroy something, it stayed destroyed. Admiral Zekthor stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Crimson Fang. His four eyes gleamed with satisfaction as he watched the holographic display. Hundreds of Krelvor warships floated in the darkness of space, hidden behind the asteroid field of the Vega system. They were invisible to sensors, silent as death itself. The human convoy will arrive in 20 minutes, his tactical officer reported. Intelligence confirms 3 transport ships with minimal escort. 2 light cruisers, maybe 3. Zekthor's mandibles clicked together in what passed for a Krelvor smile. Perfect. These humans think they can operate freely in our territory. Today, we teach them the price of arrogance. The Krelvor had been studying humanity for months. These newcomers to the galactic stage were weak, their technology primitive, their numbers small. They had only been in space for 200 years. The Empire had crushing them would be simple. The Admiral had chosen this location carefully. The Vega system sat on a major trade route between human colonies. The asteroid field provided perfect cover for his ambush. The humans would enter the system, find themselves surrounded, and be obliterated before they could even send a distress signal. All ships report ready, the tactical officer said. Excellent. Zekthor straightened his armored body. When the humans arrive, we wait until they reach the center of the kill zone. Then we activate all weapons simultaneously. I want nothing left but debris. The bridge crew worked in disciplined silence. Every warrior knew their role. This would be the opening move in the Krelvor campaign to drive humanity back to their home system, to show them they did not belong among the great powers of the galaxy. The minutes ticked by slowly. Zekthor felt the familiar rush of pre-battle excitement. He had commanded hundreds of victories. This would be another easy addition to his record. Contact, the sensor officer suddenly announced. Human convoy entering the system. 3 transport ships as predicted. But Admiral, the officer's voice wavered. I'm detecting 5 escort ships, not 2 or 3. Zekthor waved a dismissive claw. Still insignificant. Prepare to attack. The human ships moved steadily through space, their engines glowing softly in the darkness. They approached the asteroid field without hesitation, without any sign that they suspected danger. They seemed relaxed, almost careless, too careless. A small warning flickered in the back of Zekthor's mind. Something felt wrong. These humans were flying directly toward his hidden fleet with no scouts, no advance reconnaissance. They should have been more cautious. Unless, Admiral, they've reached the kill zone, the tactical officer reported. Zekthor hesitated for just a moment, then he dismissed his doubts. He had 300 warships against 8 human vessels. The outcome was certain. All ships, he commanded, his voice echoing through the fleet communication channel. Power up weapons. On my mark, we attack. 3, 2, 1, mark. 300 Krelvor warships surged forward from behind the asteroids. Their weapons blazed to life, charging with deadly energy. Missiles launched by the thousands. Energy beams prepared to fire. The human ships did not try to run. Instead, something impossible happened. The transport ships split open like flowers blooming in fast motion. What had appeared to be cargo vessels were actually mobile hangar platforms. From inside each one, 50 small fighter craft burst forth, already moving at combat speed. The 5 escort ships suddenly divided into 15 smaller vessels, each one bristling with weapons that had been hidden moments before. But that wasn't the worst of it. From behind the asteroids on the opposite side of the field, where Zekthor's sensors had shown nothing but empty space, the dark shapes of human warships began to appear. 10 massive battle cruisers, their stealth systems deactivating in perfect synchronization. They had been there the entire time, invisible and waiting. Impossible, Zekthor roared. How did they— Admiral, his communications officer shouted. We're receiving a transmission from the lead human ship. A holographic image flickered to life above the command console. A human woman in a crisp military uniform appeared, her expression calm and professional. Her eyes were steel blue and completely unflinching. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of the Earth Defense Fleet, she said, her voice clear and confident. You wanted an ambush, Admiral Zekthor. Let me show you how humans do it. The channel closed. Then the human fleet opened fire. The battle begins. The space around the Vega. Asteroid field erupted into chaos. Admiral Zekthor's confident smile vanished as the true scope of his mistake became clear. The humans hadn't stumbled into his trap. They had deliberately walked into it, knowing exactly where his ships were hiding. Worse, they had brought their own surprise. Evasive maneuvers, he bellowed. All ships scatter and regroup. But the human attack was already underway, and it was like nothing the Krelvor had ever experienced. The fighter craft that had burst from the disguised transport ships moved with incredible speed and precision. They swarmed through the Krelvor formation like angry insects, firing missiles that zigzagged through space, tracking their targets with impossible accuracy. Each missile seemed to know exactly where a Krelvor ship would try to dodge. Their weapons have advanced targeting AI, the tactical officer shouted over the noise of alarms. Our countermeasures aren't working. Zekthor watched in growing horror as 3 of his cruisers exploded in bright flashes. The human battlecruisers were firing massive railgun rounds, simple metal projectiles accelerated to relativistic speeds. They punched through Krelvor shields like they weren't even there. Return fire. Destroy those fighters. His ships tried. Energy beams sliced through space. Missiles streaked toward human targets. But the humans fought with a coordination that seemed almost telepathic. When Krelvor ships targeted a fighter, 2 others would immediately move to provide covering fire. When missiles locked onto human vessels, electronic warfare systems would jam the guidance systems or launch decoys that perfectly mimicked their energy signatures. The 15 escort ships, which had split from the original 5, were causing massive damage despite their smaller size. They darted between asteroids using the rocks as cover while firing precise shots at Krelvor weak points, shield generators, engine nacelles, weapon batteries. They knew exactly where to hit. Admiral, his intelligence officer said, her voice shaking, I think they've been watching us. Everything they're doing. They know our tactics, our ship designs, our weapon systems. Of course they had been watching. Zekthor realized it with sickening certainty. While the Krelvor had been studying humanity and planning this ambush, the humans had been studying them right back, and apparently humans were better students. Focus fire on their command ship, Zekthor ordered. If we take out their admiral, their coordination will collapse. 20 Krelvor warships turned their weapons toward the human flagship, a massive battle cruiser that hung in space like a dark blade. Energy beams converged on it from multiple angles. The human shields held. Impossible, the weapons officer gasped. Those shields should have failed. They're rotating shield frequencies, the science officer reported. Constantly changing. Our weapons hit, but the shields adapt before we can deliver concentrated damage. Admiral Chen's voice came over the communication channel again, broadcast to the entire Krelvor fleet. You're wondering how we knew you were here, she said. Let me explain. 6 months ago, we placed stealth monitoring satellites throughout this sector. We've been watching every move your ships make. We knew about this ambush 3 weeks before you even gave the order. Zekthor's blood ran cold. You chose this battlefield because you thought the asteroids would give you cover, Chen continued. But we've had time to study every rock in this field. We know this terrain better than you do, and we've been practicing. As if to prove her point, human fighters began using the asteroids in ways that seemed impossible. They would dive behind a rock at full speed, seeming certain to crash only to emerge from the opposite side at an angle that should have been impossible to calculate. They turned the obstacles Zekthor had planned to use into weapons against him. Admiral, we're losing ships fast, the tactical officer reported. 43 vessels destroyed, 62 severely damaged. Pull back! Full retreat to the outer system! But the humans had planned for that too. As Krelvor ships tried to break away from the battle, they found human mines had been placed along all the major escape routes. Ships that tried to jump to faster-than-light speeds found their jump drives disabled by focused electromagnetic pulse bursts from hidden human drones. They've caged us in, Zekthor whispered. The bridge shuddered as another impact rocked the Crimson Fang. Alarms wailed. Smoke began to fill the command center. Sir, we have to surrender. His first officer said quietly. We can't win this. Zekthor looked at the holographic display. More than half his fleet was gone or disabled. The humans were systematically dismantling his remaining ships with surgical precision. They weren't fighting with rage or hatred. They were fighting with cold, calculated efficiency. How? He asked aloud. How did primitives do this to us? As if she had heard his question, Admiral Chen's face appeared on his screen again. You called us primitives, she said. You thought our technology was inferior. Maybe it is in some ways. But we have something you don't. What? Zekthor demanded. Chen smiled slightly. We know what it's like to be the underdog. We've spent our entire history fighting against bigger, stronger enemies. We learned to win by being smarter, faster, and more adaptable. You've spent 3,000 years being the biggest predator in the galaxy. You forgot how to be afraid. Another explosion rocked the Crimson Fang. This is your last chance, Chen said. Surrender now or we will destroy every ship in your fleet. Zekthor looked at his crew. He saw fear in their eyes, fear they had never felt before. The mighty Krelvor Empire, defeated by humans they had dismissed as insignificant. He reached for the communication controls. Victory and message. The fighting stopped. Admiral Zekthor's voice, transmitted across all Krelvor frequencies, announced the unthinkable. All Krelvor ships, cease fire. We surrender. On the bridge of the human flagship, Admiral Sarah Chen allowed herself a small breath of relief. Around her, the crew remained focused and professional, but she could feel the tension beginning to ease. They had won, but the victory had been far from certain. One mistake, one miscalculation, and the ambush could have turned against them. All human ships hold fire, she commanded. Maintain defensive positions. Tactical, give me a status report. Ma'am, the Krelvor fleet is powering down weapons, Lieutenant Park reported. We count 73 enemy ships still operational out of the original 300. The rest are destroyed or severely damaged. Our losses: 12 fighters destroyed, 3 escort ships damaged but repairable, and no capital ships lost. Chen nodded slowly. The plan had worked better than she had dared to hope. Open a secure channel to Admiral Zekthor, she said. The Krelvor commander appeared on her screen. His 4 eyes were dimmed with defeat. His armored shoulders slumped. He looked like a warrior who had just watched his entire worldview collapse. Admiral Chen, he said quietly, I am authorized to negotiate terms of surrender. Good, Chen replied. Here are my terms. Your ships will form a single line and proceed to the coordinates we transmit. Earth Defense Fleet vessels will escort you to the edge of this system. Once there, you will return to Krelvor space and deliver a message to your government. What message? Chen leaned forward slightly. Tell them that humanity did not come to the galaxy looking for war. We came looking for trade, cooperation, and peace. But if any species tries to attack us, if anyone mistakes our desire for peace as weakness, this is what will happen. Every time, Zekthor's mandibles twitched. You are making an enemy of the entire Krelvor Empire. No, Chen said firmly. Your government made that choice when they ordered this attack. We're simply showing them the consequences. But I'm also offering them a way out. She paused. Return to your space. Leave human ships alone. If you do that, there will be no retaliation, no revenge strikes, no escalation. We'll consider this matter closed. And if we don't, Chen's expression hardened. Then the next time we meet, we won't just defeat you. We'll come to your home systems. We'll show every species in the galaxy exactly what happens when you attack Earth. We don't want to do that, Admiral. But we will if we have to. The Krelvor commander was silent for a long moment. Then he bowed his head slightly, a gesture of respect in his culture. You fought with honor today, Admiral Chen. I have underestimated humans. I will not make that mistake again. See that you don't, Chen replied. Now get your ships moving. The channel closed. Chen stood and walked to the viewport, watching as the surviving Krelvor vessels slowly formed a ragged line and began their retreat. Her crew worked efficiently around her, coordinating the escort operation and beginning damage assessments. Captain Marcus Rodriguez, her second-in-command, approached quietly. That was one hell of a gamble, Admiral. If even one thing had gone wrong. I know, Chen said softly, but we couldn't let them think we were easy targets. If we had run from this fight, every aggressive species in the galaxy would have seen us as prey. She turned to face him. Humans have always been good at one thing, Marcus. We adapt, we learn, we overcome. That's what we did here. Still, Rodriguez said with a slight smile, it was pretty satisfying watching their faces when our trap closed around them. Chen allowed herself a small smile in return. Yes, it was. Over the next hour, the battlefield was cleared. Human rescue teams moved through the debris, searching for survivors on both sides. Medical ships arrived to treat the wounded, both human and Krelvor. This was another message Chen wanted to send. Humans would fight fiercely when attacked, but they would also show mercy when it was over. As the last Krelvor ship disappeared from sensors, Chen received a communication from Earth Command. Fleet Admiral Thompson's weathered face appeared on her screen. "Outstanding work, Admiral Chen," Thompson said. "You and your fleet performed perfectly." "Thank you, sir. But this was a team effort. Everyone played their part. I'm sure they did, but you're the one who came up with the plan. 6 months of preparation, thousands of simulations, perfect execution." Thompson paused. "You know this changes everything, don't you? The Krelvor will go home and tell stories about what happened here. So will every other species watching this sector." "I know, sir," Chen replied. "The galaxy is about to learn that humanity isn't going to be pushed around." "Good. That's exactly the message we need to send." "But Chen—" Thompson's expression grew serious. "This was the easy part. Now comes the harder challenge, making sure we don't become the bullies ourselves. We need to stay vigilant, stay humble, and remember why we fought this battle. To protect ourselves and to show that we deserve respect," Chen said. "Not to dominate others." "Exactly. Don't forget that." The transmission ended. Chen turned back to the viewport, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Krelvor ships were racing home with news of their defeat. The story would spread. Other species would hear about the ambush that failed, about the humans who turned the tables on one of the galaxy's great powers. Some would see it as a warning. Others would see it as a challenge. But all of them would know one thing for certain. Humanity had earned its place among the stars. Not through conquest or intimidation, but through intelligence, preparation, and the courage to face overwhelming odds. "Set course for home," Chen ordered. "And someone send a message to the colonies. Tell them the trade route is secure." As the human fleet began its journey back to Earth, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge and allowed herself to feel the full weight of what they had accomplished. They had won a battle today, but more importantly, they had sent a message that would echo across the galaxy for generations to come. Humanity was here to stay, and they would never be easy prey.